everyone, I'm Rongshan, Solution Consultant at Sage Asia. Today, I'll be giving you an introduction to deployment option for Sage CRM. Over the course of half an hour or so, I'll bring you through the following deployment option: the on-premise deployment, extending to our last topic of hybrid deployment, private cloud deployment, managed service or services that you can acquire online, the Amazon, Azure, Google, etc. Large-scale deployment using cloud services, ECS, EIP, RDS, VPN, EVL. Hybrid deployment extension of on-premise deployments where you can leverage third-party services, be it private clouds or public clouds. Sage CRM is a web-based application architecture that gives you the flexibility to choose which option best suit your business. However, there are various things that we need to consider before deciding on which deployment options that best fit your needs. The triple constraint in project management, time, cost, and scope each play a critical role in your deployments. For example, do we have ample time to wait for the delivery of the hardware, or we need to have the Sage CRM system up and running in the next few weeks? What is the budget for the project? Are we able to allocate a certain amount of initial procurements of the hardware? Are the scope business critical, that we only can go live when developments of all the scopes are all completed? Do we need to fast track or crash the timeline? These are the triple constraints that we need to take into consideration, whether the lead times of the procurement and the shipping of the hardware, the scope and budget will greatly impact the overall timeline of the project. Cost of investment. Will high initial investment costs impact your cash flow that resulted your business unable to invest in any other projects? Should we look into the CAPEX, capital expense, over OPEX, operational expense? Do we need a high level control over the environments where you can make changes to the system as and when you need? Data accessibility. Are business related to healthcare and financial that store sensitive data, such that cloud deployment might not be a suitable option? Scalability. The ease to scale the resources as and when your requirement changes. IT policy, such as high availability, disaster recovery site, penetration compliance, will play an important part in the deployment option you choose. A typical configuration for Sage CRM can be done as per display. Sage CRM has a 10 clients configuration, therefore users can access and work with Sage CRM using just a web browser. This can be any web browser supported by Sage CRM. Sage CRM can be set up behind the corporate network within the organization DMZ, or a VPN can be set up to access the system. It accesses the database via both ADO and JDBC. These connections are shared between the applications and the database. SSL can also be set up to provide a greater security when accessing the system and database. And this is important when Sage CRM is integrating with other services in a hybrid deployment or using web service protocol. In addition, firewall rules can be set for allowing the required port to tighten the security. The applications and database can be installed in a single server. However, it depends on the usage of the Sage CRM, and that depicts the hardware requirements to support the number of users to provide a better user experience. As mentioned earlier, Sage CRM is a web-based application. It is highly configurable and extensible. It supports various types of integrations and works as the business logic layer, where workflows controls how the users interact with the system, and presenting them with the relevant information that they can or allowed to see and what to do next. Thus, the minimum hardware requirements is crucial to provide a good user experience without slowness or a typical 404 or 500 error. The hardware requirements as displayed can be applied to both on-prem and on-cloud deployment, but the translation of actual physical core to a vCore has to be reassessed. CRM supports single server and multi-server installations, depending on the number of users and the data growth. It can be deployed into multi-server to handle different component services, such as the main web server or the application server to handle service requests, advanced email service for inbound mail, escalation services for escalations of notifications and email. Lastly, the indexes and quick find services for elastic search index that optimize search result. However, more commonly done is separating the database and the applications into two dedicated servers. On-premise deployment itself is self-explanatory. It is to have everything implemented in the customer's physical environment under their control. This implementation involved hardware, infrastructure, software licenses, and in-house IT to be financed and supported. This implementation gives the customers a high level of control of the system, allowing the customers to do complex customizations and integrations that suits their business needs. However, it requires the in-house IT to manage and maintain the system, to keep the system in the operation mode. As such, the initial cost of investment is higher compared to an on-cloud deployment. On-premise implementation might be the only option for businesses dealing with customers' sensitive information, such as finance and healthcare-related businesses, as transmitting or transferring of this data would require a high level of control and secure environment. There might be legislations and IT policy compliance that the business have to adhere to. Today, with the advancement of cloud computing, software as a service, platform, and infra as a service, etc., are no longer new. However, most of us talks about cloud. We are often referring to Azure, Amazon AWS, Google, or Red Hat that had public cloud platform providing virtual private cloud services. Public cloud refers to third-party providers that provides computing services, making them available for anyone to use for free or for purchase. In a private cloud environment, these environments are solely dedicated to particular end user. It could be a managed service or an in-house data center. On the other hand, a virtual private cloud that are commonly referred to is a pool of public resources that creates a private environment for enterprise. Users are sharing the computing resources and yet keeping their environment private and secure at the same time. They comes in the pay-per-use mode where users are billed based on their usage of resources. This can be a monthly or a yearly recurring depending on the subscription mode they choose. Cloud service allow businesses to provision their servers based on utilizations and skills as their business growth. Scaling can be increasing or decreasing the storage, the bandwidth, the server specs, and many others. However, the immediate resource availability and flexibility is the core advantages. This allows small to medium enterprises that have limited or no in-house IT support to provision their server without the concern of maintaining and managing the actual infrastructure. When they are ready to expand their business or usage, they can scale accordingly to their needs. Sage CRM can be deployed in cloud environment as shown in the above scenario. Taking AWS services as an example, once subscription is done, user can install and get their Sage CRM running in the cloud in the availability zone and virtual private cloud they have created. User can access the Sage CRM via virtual private network or VPN, or subscribe an elastic IP for external access. External IP, EIP, provides a public IP that domain names can be bound, hence the user can access their system using a proper URL. ECC, Elastic Computing Cloud, a virtual service that provides the pre-built and installed OS that once it is subscribed or purchased, users can use it almost immediately. As mentioned earlier on, the database can be installed in the same server as the Sage CRM, implementing as a single installation. Or RDS, Relational Database Service, that comes with different types of database, namely MongoDB, MySQL, MS SQL, Cassandra, and others, that they can be subscribed for the users who are a slightly large scales, creating a multi-server environment for the applications and database servers. However, where data security is concerned, the availability zone of the cloud has to be taken into considerations. No one will know the exact locations of the data is stored. The availability zone, although indicates the country where the data center resides, in-house IT policies or even legislations might not allow data to be stored in the cloud. Nevertheless, white paper and SLA agreements from these cloud providers are readily available from their websites, and they can be downloaded for your reference. Sage CRM provide multi-service configurations. This allows a more larger scale of users to access the Sage CRM. With the recent adoption of REST API 2.0, Sage CRM is no longer a typical CRM, but a more platform-based where integration can be done to extend and better manage your end customer. The above scenario illustrates how integrations can be done when Sage CRM is deployed with multi-servers and integrating ERP that's hosted in other VPC availability zone or other cloud service provider. In a large-scale deployment, Sage CRM multi-servers allow multiple servers to be configured as a cluster to serve the inbound traffic. It also has inbuilt load balancing mechanisms that uses round-robin rule sets to assign users to the different servers in the cluster. However, ELB, Elastic Load Balancer, can be subscribed and configured to direct the traffic with different rule sets depending on the types of ELB subscribed, namely Application Load Balancer, Network Load Balancers, and the Classic Load Balancers. A commonly used is the Classic Load Balancer, where zonal failover can be configured and also at a lower cost. On the other hand, database can be configured using an ELB to handle the load or leverage MS SQL always availability group to handle high volume of traffic. As such, HA high availability can be achieved. In the event of integrations, server hosted in different availability zone within the same cloud provider, VPC peering can be established and to enable cross-availability zones communications. A site-to-site VPN can be established for different cloud providers, for example, Azure and AWS, to create a single virtual environment that caters for different needs or integrations. Disaster recovery and backup can be done easily in the cloud environment due to the multiple availability zones and readily available backup scheduler. This scheduler can be configured and mapped according to your RTO, recovery time objective, and RPO, recovery point objective that adheres to your company's IT policy. CRM allows integration via protocol such as SOAP and RESTful. Hence, a hybrid deployment can be achieved. As illustrated, CRM can be implemented in a cloud environment that accesses the back office system. This does not limit only to back office systems that are on-prem, but also integrations to other cloud services such as MailChimp, Office 365, and many other services as long as they support the protocol. CRM is tightly integrated with Sage 300, regardless it is on-prem or on cloud. That creates Sage BMS solutions, allowing users to have a 360 view of the customer information and the ability to access the financial information within Sage CRM screen. Other integrations such as using Azure SSO single sign-on, user can sign into Microsoft Azure Active Directory with a pass-through authentications to authenticate themselves and access Sage CRM and other business apps. Azure SSO can control the authorizations group with Microsoft Azure Active Directory groups and manage the control of such business apps authentications. With the integration compatibility, Sage CRM can now be positioned as the platform that pull and push customer information to various subsystems and deliver a high level of customer experience to all your customers. In short, Sage CRM is known for its flexibility, as it can be easily configured and extensible that overturns the limitations of integrations. As a web-based application, one can choose their option of deployments that best suits their business needs, be it on-prem, on cloud, or hybrid. There are other services that we can or may explore further that can be integrated with Sage CRM, such as containerizing deployments of Sage CRM using a single virtual server OS stack, running multiple CRM systems such as the development, testing, sandbox, and productions. Integration with robotic process automations that handles repetitive tasks and machine learning to improve and optimize such repetitive administrative works. In return, it automates and streamlines the whole business process. This will widen the usage of Sage CRM and not just a typical CRM. I have come to the end of my presentations. Hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.